Hello, Internet! Oh, man. We're live. It's a Mappening. It just appeared out of nowhere. I don't even know where it came from, guys. It just landed on my lap, and here I am. Here you are. We're streaming tonight some live. Those two things are, what's the word? It's redundant. There we go. We're live streaming some fantasy mapping tonight, some cartography. So if you're joining me, thank you very much for hanging out. It's going to be a good time. Tonight I'm actually going to be working on paper. I had a Mappening about a little more than a week ago now, and I was working in Photoshop, did a really cool dungeon map. Now I'm bragging. Did a dungeon map in Photoshop for the guys over at Absolute Tabletop using the drop dice method for their new Oath of the Frozen King adventure kit, which excuse me, is nearing the final stages of production. And I can't wait to get my hands on it. I was a backer of their Kickstarter. So anyway, that was a lot of fun. Thank you all for making that a special time for me. And tonight, we are going to be working on just a map commission for a client of mine. I picked up 3 or 4, depending on how you look at it, map commissions over the summer, thinking that I will get these done over the summer, and school started, and I had exactly 0 of them done, but it was like, had good progress on one, 95% on one, half done with another one, and et cetera, et cetera. So got a lot done, but still a few things left to do. Looks like some people are popping into the chat. People are arriving. Yes, William Pfeiffer. What? It was kind of my reaction too. It's like, hey, why not? Why not? Can I just pop on the internet and start streaming at the drop of a hat and just, I don't know. It's one of the beauties of being on the YouTubes, just impromptu. So Ravenov says, morning from Wisconsin. Well, hello, Ravenov. And the German Empire might be in Germany. Hello. William Pfeiffer, hello. OF Dawn 02, hey. And Paulo, good evening to you, my friend, in Brazil. Okay, Brasilia. Tonight, I'm gonna move the camera here in a second, and we'll get down to it. Oh, first off, I do want to thank the patrons. Ba-blow! There we go. Patrons, thank you for your support. You can find out more about how you can support WASD20 over at patreon.com/WASD20. And here we go. Get rid of the patrons thing. And hey, you who have arrived here, this is an impromptu thing. So if you don't mind, go over to Facebook and share the link, facebook.com/WASD20, or go to twitter.com, probably even easier, twitter.com/WASD20Nate, I think it is. I don't even know. Anyway, I guess it's just, at WASD20Nate. Yeah, I know Twitter. Sort of. And if you guys don't mind, maybe retweeting that link and sharing it around so more people hear about this rather impromptu, spur-of-the-moment little thing here. Tonight I'm drinking an Oatsmobile ale. I almost called it an Oldsmobile. An American pale ale from one of Michigan's finest breweries, Bell's. Man, ciao from Italy, says Pietro. Man, okay, sorry guys, I'm moving the camera. I'm not trying to make you ill or give you a crotch shot here. We're just trying to move the camera so you can see my map. All right. Adjustments will be made. I'll have to adjust my my exposure as usual so you can see the paper. And we'll move the map over so the chat's not in the way. There we go. Exposure. Oh, the exposure is frozen, guys. Oh, no, it's not. Okay, there we go. Seems to be kicking in now. Good. I think that'll do. Might move it just a little closer to the paper. So this is a really big piece of paper, guys. This is... Let me see. Like the drawing I did on the cover there. Pretty good. Not my best work, but 14 by 17. So this is a big pad of paper I got specifically for this client who requested a large map. And yeah, just, wanted a poster size. Now, I've done poster size maps on small paper, like, well, this isn't that small, I guess. But I've done like 11 by 14. Like the Aeronaut map, for example, was done on 11 by 14 originally. And, yeah, I just, tried to get enough detail, and I put it in Photoshop and tried to, get enough detail in there that I could do it. But this one was a challenge because there are some locations, you'll see very soon here, that are so close to other locations that I just wasn't confident in my ability to do a good job unless I went bigger and bigger. So, yeah, I got the big paper here. Yeah, let's do a few more shout-outs here, see where people are tuning in from. Tommy Mega Muffin, good evening from Snow, Mexico. Hey! Nicholas Hatch, hi from Ohio. Matt Lennington is here. What's up, Matt? Zorik the Great. Brad. Pietro from Italy. Chad Nick, man, I missed you on the last Mappening, Chad. He says, I'm so glad to see you back streaming, you beautiful man. And a heart. Oh, I'm going to cry. Love you too, Chad. He's getting ready to rock some auditions, but yeah, dude, do it. Chad doing some voice acting stuff. The Pagan Born, hello. And Zeke Sulunan. Lad, late. All right. We've got Brad from Calgary. Welcome, you crazy Canuck. There's probably a little bit of a delay here in the my request for shout out in terms of yeah, anyway. I lose erasers like nobody's business, guys. I messed up there. There's a little ink splotch. But this is a map that I'll show you guys. Oh, shoot, I should have shown you this before I moved the camera, but I'm going to move the camera again. I'm going to try to do it rather slowly so that I don't make you ill. This is I knocked my dice over. This is a map that has been on my wall for about a month now. I think it might have been Matt Click or someone who suggested, man, I would just put that thing up on the wall. And I was printing it. This thing is huge. It's very detailed. But this is the map I'm working on. I think this might have been made in Campaign Cartographer or something. Excuse me. And yeah, it was a challenge because every time he sent me a new draft, it was like, more locations. I guess he only sent me 2 drafts, but it was like the first draft was like, okay, I can handle that. And then the second draft he sent me, he added a bunch of stuff because it wasn't very filled out. And it was like, oh man, this is going to be intense. Like this right here, I can hardly even read the text on here. So anyway, I printed it out on many pages and I can almost read it now. And yeah, that's what I'm working on, and I'm transferring it to my paper here. So, Pietro, go to sleep. Yeah, totally, brother. And hope you sleep well, and hope you don't have to wake up too soon. And, okay, the Pagan Born says 14 by 17 is my preferred size for mapping. Piojo Amarillo says, hola from Puerto Rico. Hola, buenas noches. Yeah. So, Zeke Sulonen asks, how long, or Zook maybe? Zeke? Oh, Zeke. I was saying Zeke. I'm all in Spanish-Italian mode here. Hey, Zeke. I'll just call you Zeke. To make a map like this, I usually plan on about 20 to 30 hours for a full like Aeronaut style map. That's kind of what I plan on. I don't estimate very well, and I don't keep track very well of how long they actually take, but that's kind of what I usually estimate. And this so far has not been that long. This has probably been about 5 hours. No, well, I guess if you include some back and forth and emailing and all that stuff, but this has not been too long. Probably 3 or 4, 5 maybe hours. We're gonna jump in here. So I've got some rather mundane tasks before me tonight, but I figured I'd stream anyway, hang out with you beautiful people, So got my number 3 Pigma Micron. Excuse me. And let me just get a feel for how it goes in this. So I drew a line right here. I'm not going to be drawing above that because just to fit the dimensions he desired, that's where it turned out. So let me just see how that feels for. I'm going to do a little thinner. I think I'm going to do my number 1. So for the coastlines, my style, I generally just kind of take it like that. And on my first pass, I generally will get the line pretty steady and consistent. I will not break the line a lot. On my second pass, I definitely break the line more, make it more wavy and a little more erratic, perhaps. I've really been tempted lately to try. I just don't like trying too many new bold things on commission maps because I don't know. I don't want my clients who are paying me good money to be the guinea pig, you know. But the coastline style, where you would, I'm gonna get a better piece of paper so I can be throughout the night just doodling things for you guys. This is one that I did a compass rose on last week. Okay, so if this is our coastline here, I've been wanting to try the style that's a little more, like the waves, and I guess you have to be kind of irregular with it, and you probably have to get them closer together than I have them. But something like that, you've probably seen that on maps before, and it can look really cool. So this would be the land, and this would be the water. And yeah, so that's something I've been thinking about, but I haven't experimented too much with it. Sometimes people will also, on a coastline, just take it like I have it. The first pass will be kind of wavy like that. But then out of that first kind of set of wave, if you want to call it that, they'll do this out of there. Or just a very consistent, exactly following the coastline sort of line. People do that too. And then, in fact, I think I've probably seen that more. So anyway, that's just something I've been thinking about, but haven't really done. I think I may have done it on one map in the Mappening once, like a little one that I don't know. All right, let me get caught up on some comments here. Phantom Games 23. So how do you make a map look that cool? Whatever. It just practice, man. Practice. Of the vast ocean, James says Nate got a very weird version of the Destiny 2 in the beta. Yeah, I'm not playing Destiny 2 right now. I was super tempted, but I've got too many maps to work on, and need to be responsible. Not that you're not responsible, James, for playing Destiny 2. I'm just gonna shut up. The Pagan Born says, Nate, have you tried dip pens? Yes, I have. Actually, I've tried it more for text. I was trying to learn calligraphy with those, but I didn't have the patience for it, I guess you could say. Yeah. Phantom Games 23. I will do a video on a compass rose eventually. Definitely. That would be an easy one. The other one I've been working on that I'll just talk a little about tonight is for maps, and I should do this sometime soon. That's my number 1. Yep, got to double check. Is filling terrain. Like just, you've got space on a map sometimes that's just kind of empty. I've got my mountains here, I've got my lake there, I've got a forest here, but then this is just plains, or this is kind of like sparse forest. It's not really a dense forest. And what do you do with that space? And I've been looking at a lot of maps, and many of you know who have been following the Mappening for a long time know that I really like Max's maps. He, I believe, is a French illustrator, cartographer, if I'm remembering correctly. Check out maxsmaps.com. And I've been trying some of his methods for filling empty space, especially on his black and white maps. It's easier to do on a color map. You can add color, obviously. But on a black and white map or on my style, just like black line art on parchment with minor bits of shading, that style is a little trickier to just fill that blank space and to not have it look overly just empty. All right, so I'm not going to do the whole coastline here because it doesn't hold my attention. I get bored quickly. I used to say a lot that, well, because I'm ADD, but I try to say that less because there are really people who have ADD, and I don't think I'm one of them. People use that term very lightly. I'm trying to not do that as much. But easily distracted or easily bored? I don't know. So my method is maybe not the most efficient in some ways, but it keeps me more entertained. Because, yeah, as someone pointed out, 20 to 30 hours on a map, it requires a lot of patience. And sometimes that means I'm going to do a little bit of mountain shading. And if I wanted it to make sure that it looked really consistent and I wanted to be super efficient, I would do it all. But I can't handle that right now because it's mind numbing. All right, so that's my first pass here. James reiterates, I'm so irresponsible. John Libby from Texas, man, stay safe out there. Chad, good to see you, man. Thank you, and I'll talk to you soon, I'm sure. So this is a map for someone's homebrew D&D world, or RPG anyway. And I'm nearing the point of getting ready to scan it. It's always kind of a tough decision when to scan. On my last map that I've been working on for a fantasy author, not the dungeon one I did for AbTab, the one I'm like 99% done with now, maybe even 100. I have to send him a draft and say, hey, what do you think? Is this good? On that one that I've been working on, I scanned it before doing trees. I ended up doing the trees in Photoshop, and basically I made like 8 different trees, maybe 9 or 10, and I kind of stamped them around, right, just to give it some variety. On this one, I decided, you know what, I think I like doing them by hand. I could do them by hand on the tablet on the computer too. Sorry, I'm getting off screen here. Let me adjust the camera. I'm having trouble with it. There we go. So, what's everybody up to lately gaming-wise? Been playing any D&D? Been playing other things? I have not played D&D in a long time, but we do have a Provokers game coming up. September 9 or 10, I can't remember which. I think it's the 10th. That's a Sunday. So I'm excited for that because I haven't played in a long time. I went back to school. Oh man, my nails are long. I meant to cut my nails. This is gross. Look away, I'm hideous! Gotta put the pen down and cut my nails, guys. I'm just kidding. Gotta get a drink. So yeah, it's been a while. I'm back to school and it's busy, but it'll be good. I'm glad, I'm thankful for, I'm not the type of person who will anytime soon be in a like once a week or probably even in a regular every other week campaign. I just can't see that happening anytime soon. I got invited to one recently. It's like every Sunday or every other Sunday for like 6 to 8 hours, and it's like, oh, sounds awesome. I don't know if that's for me. Like a home game here local in West Michigan. And yeah, but I'm thankful for at least a somewhat steady campaign. Provokers, we've been less steady than we want to be because of just stuff has come up. But if I didn't have that, it's so easy for me just to like get in a groove of not playing, I know I hang out with a lot of people online who play in several games a week. For me, I just think it takes a lot of mental energy for me to even like join a one-shot. Yeah. I don't know. Hope to get to a point in life where it's not that way. But let's see what people are saying here. Allison Rose says, I've just started playing with my friends. Awesome. Very cool. William Pfeiffer says, I just finished Tyranny of Dragons with my friends. It was about a year long. Nice. Nicholas Hatch just ordered the D&D starter kit, just beginning to investigate playing. Dude, do it. Do it. Call up some friends, some family. I don't know. Just jump in, man. John Levy, I'm not sure what OVA is. I'll probably recognize it once you spell it out for me. The Pagan Born says, just finished an arc in our Pathfinder campaign. 5 PC deaths in one night. Ooh, man. Yeah. Carl Salvatore is starting Out of the Abyss. Yeah, I like that book. I've run little bits of it. Never run the whole module, but used little bits. Used a dungeon here, some encounters there, and really like that book. Piojo Amarillo. I've given my map like terrain. Oh, I see. Like given the 3D effect in Photoshop. I think I know what you mean. Kind of like the Numenera map. In the book Numenera. No, I've never done that. Yeah, I'll show that map a second. It's intense. Intensely good, right? I mean, it just looks like, it looks like it's popping out of the page. And I don't think it's terribly difficult. I've seen tutorials definitely on YouTube for doing this style, but never done it. Yeah. This is one that I've never played. It sits on my shelf. It's gorgeous. I said I wasn't going to do the whole Coastline, and I've been doing it for a while, and need a little variety here. So, going to do that. Yeah, William Pfeiffer. I'm going to school tomorrow too. I will be there in, let's see. Yeah, I guess it's not for another 10 hours. 9 hours. All right. So, I'm going to look over at my wall map here to see what else I can do. Okay. So one thing I definitely have to do, and I might have to extend the map beyond this area. So I've got a line. You guys can't see it, but it's right about, it goes to right about there. Horizontally across. And that's where my map is supposed to end. But I'm realizing I don't really have that much room for what this guy calls the frozen north. So on his map, he's got this volcano, and then he's got some mountains that would start right about here and go like that. So I'll just kind of draw those in there, and then the mountains kind of go up there and here. I'll show you guys as well. I think I have a smaller copy of this. I had. Yeah, so here's a couple shots I took. You can see when I transfer a map, I do the kind of grid style. Just rough. I don't do it super. I don't get super into it. It doesn't need to be exact for most of my clients. They don't really care that much about getting it perfect, but I try. So that's what I did here. You can see I have some lines here. Easy way to transfer things. You could also use a projector. That can often work pretty well. Put your paper on the wall and project. But yeah, this is what I'm talking about right here. So the volcano is right here. And then we've got the frozen north up there, this kind of mountain range. And I'm feeling like I might need to extend my northern border of the map a little bit. I'll probably make it higher, and then I can always adjust it in Photoshop and kind of cut it where I want it. But better to err on the side of too many mountains in the north, and then I can always just kind of chop it where I want it. All right, so yeah, Piojo Amarillo says, Nate, I like the style you're currently using for the coast better than the other ones that you showed with the wavy lines. Yeah, in my second one will probably be a little wavier, but I for the first line, I definitely follow the coastline pretty close. Yep, I've toyed with not doing these lines. Yeah, it's hard for me to do them on the computer. It's easier for me to do it by hand. And if I could do them in Photoshop more easily, it would be nice and easy just to like hide that layer, right? And see, which do I like better? But anyway, so I'm going to draw some mountains. I will first kind of pencil them in. And I'm going to try to just keep in mind the size of my other ones to keep it consistent. I've been trying to make my mountains also a little more dense and overlapping, rather than, if you look at some of my older maps, you see that there's quite a bit of space vertically between mountains, and it just looks a little weird, especially after I shade them in Photoshop and all that stuff. So I'm trying to just make them nice and excuse me, nice and dense. But so we'll just draw some mountains in here. Now this, I have a square right here. You guys probably can't see that. Let's see what that is. That is Everlast Safe Hold City of Nephilim. Might have to talk to my client about shortening that name, just for the sake of the map. Maybe go with one or the other. Okay, and then there's forest up north of the volcano, quite a bit. I've got these wavy like smoke lines coming out of my volcano right now with pencil that I need to get rid of so I can work. I can always put something like that in later. But we need a forest here. So I'll just kind of draw in right now kind of a cloudy shape just to denote where that forest will be going. Yeah, we'll just go something like that. And actually goes kind of around here too. So I've got some right here, but I need to draw a lot more. The way that I've been doing trees here is I'm just taking my smallest pen actually, or I think I was using my number 5 on some, or my number 1 rather, but my 05 or 005 here, and just making little triangles. I'm starting to be less of a fan of my traditional kind of, I don't know, rough, cloudy looking shape of mountains, and trying the individual more. The thing that I just can't quite commit to yet, and it would cost my clients an arm and a leg probably, is the totally like overlapping dense individual tree method, where you're just really getting them dense in there. Anyway, it's ugly, but you get the idea. So that's something I haven't been quite able to commit to yet, but may eventually try that. All right, here we go. If you guys are watching this one and you're enjoying it, go ahead and give me a like if you don't mind. And also, I did share the link on Twitter a while back, my Twitter account at WASD20Nate. And if you don't mind, like retweeting that link, that'd be swell. All right, continuing on. Trees, and then I'll do some mountains. I said I was going to do mountains, and now I'm doing trees instead. And then what I have been doing for most of them is a little trunk. Webcam's kind of in my way here for really. Let me move it down. Hopefully my head doesn't get in the way. Just a rough little trunk. I might end up shading these on Photoshop a little bit, but I kind of doubt it. I think they're going to be so small that that effect will not be worth it. Will not vale la pena for all my Hispanic viewers out there. All right, there we go. Oh, that one got a little. Okay. We'll keep going. Little tiny triangles. Every once in a while, I got to kind of look back at the other parts of the map and make sure I'm being consistent in terms of size, line weight, things like that. But I'm going to go ahead and do kind of the outer part of this here. Something like that. And the nice thing about this method too, over the kind of like, here's a block of forest that's kind of rough, cloudy looking, like a big broccoli. This method allows for more nuance in terms of like, hey, here's just a few thin trees, and here's a real thick, dense area of forest and stuff like that, which I like. It's really hard to do like, here's just a couple trees, here's just a little bit of forest in that other method and have it look good. It just ends up looking like a little individual bush or something. Let's see. I'm going to read some of the chat here. Patrick says, looks great. Started playing again. I was an AD&D player back in the day. So much has changed since back in the day. Yeah, it's definitely, it's come a long way. I think mostly positive, but, probably some negative too. Brad says, DMing 5e and making terrain for games. So much fun. Old Grog's still at it. Good for you, man. I hope that's me someday. I'm 35, so I'm getting there. But I haven't been playing that long. It's starting to get a little too triangular. It's good to make a kind of a roundish one. Especially like curve it around the bottom a little bit. I kind of like that look. And yeah, do some tree trunks here. Fill those in. The coding dog, hello, welcome. David J, I've been working on my cloud forest and I still can't get them to look good. Yeah, it's a little tricky. Let's try one, just for kicks. So, I tend to kind of do not totally like this. I don't like that look. It's a little much, so do a little more erratic. Kind of some straight lines, some kind of pointy, and yeah, and then go in and do your tree trunks. And then here you can, another option is to kind of do all of this top layer a little bit more pointy, and then you can kind of do these throughout sorts of things. and it's looking like, a little more, yeah, I don't know, just a little more of a coniferous, pine tree type of forest. But anyway, just a quick and dirty version. Another option is to kind of add some of these coming in, just a little like that. But yeah, I mean, I think it looks fine. I just don't think I'm the best at it. I think I've seen better, for sure. All right, getting back to this here. That's right, I was going to do some tree trunks. Let's trunk it up. I need to move my mic a little bit. I'm leaning into the paper here and not talking to you all as well as I should be. Sorry, this is a little tedious, just, watching Nate draw triangles with little lines under them. The art skill is extreme. Extreme. Okay. I do find that, I get really focused on things, and I just have to, sit back. I mean, everyone has that with a job. Some people have jobs like that, and where they're maybe staring at a computer really hard all day. I'm a teacher, so I use a computer a lot, and I work in technology too at the school. So, but nothing like staring at little tiny triangles all day. One person I have mad respect for is Devin Rue. She's a cartographer who's kind of bursting onto the scene lately and doing a lot of really cool stuff. Very talented. And I think it might be her job. I think she just does maps, which is awesome. But I have respect because I've done that a little bit this summer. I've gone in, got out of the house, and done mapping work for 6 hours. And it is tough. It is tough. Definitely. The command tent is here. Oh, Cedric. Welcome. Hey, Cedric. I want to thank you for upping your Patreon pledge. I meant to send you a thank you note, and I didn't get around to it. But I no excuse. Thank you for your generous support, man. Here's to you. And I'm going to be sending you one of these nifty Sellsword Maps bookmarks, too. Just got to get them laminated. I've been talking about that for a week now. Got to get them laminated. The command tent says, hey, first time catching a live stream. Found you from the Provokers. Really like your map style. Would you ever combine the cloud individual tree style? I actually had this client ask me to do that, and I said, I don't know if that's a good idea. And I talked him out of it. It's possible, but you'd have to, I don't know. You'd really have to have a style that's similar. So if I'm doing it like this, then my individual trees might be a little more like this or something. Where you just got to kind of keep something similar so that it's not like, well, here's a forest and then here's a forest too. And it looks totally different, right? So I'm a little wary of that, but I think it's possible. I'm just not maybe confident that I can pull it off well. Mr. Bones, I teach social studies. Right now, this semester I've got global issues and U.S. government. So adventurous times in those classes for sure. There's no shortage of material. All right. Enough trees for a little bit. I'm going to do some mountains. And Cedric says, really likes my mapping style. I actually tried to make my own world map a while ago, too. Cool. Yeah, man, it's just, anyone who's not ever done it, just do it. Just doodle someday. You don't even have to have your own, homebrew game world or world of fiction. Just pick up a pen and start drawing some shapes. I did link to a bunch of the supplies that I use because people often ask, what are you using? I just put the links down in the video description. Those are Amazon affiliate links. People can check those out if you want to. But I'll say this, like, you don't need anything fancy. Just pick up any old pencil and, some, like a ballpoint pen even. It doesn't matter. Just get drawing. People do amazing things with not the proper materials. I had someone the other day say, you've never used a multi-liner pen? It's like, no, I haven't. I should probably get some of those. I would like to. But lay off, man. I just draw maps. Come on. All right. It's amazing what, for example, Hankerin Furnail over at Drunken's Dragons can do with a Sharpie, right? The guy is just, he's a master. I'm using my size 5 here. I'm thinking I should go down to a 3. That's a little thicker than I was hoping. Here's 3. Piojo Amarillo, good night, brother. Robert Bignell says, do you draw volcanoes? I did right here. It's maybe kind of hard to see, but that is a volcano. And I've done others. Check my Valos map if you go to sellswordmaps.com. I put the... anyway, it's written across the top of the screen right now. I was going to say I put the link. It's not a link, but it's a URL. Anyway, it's getting late, and I'm losing my mental faculties, so be patient with me. Anyway, there's a Valos map you can look at. I made that for my good friend Mike the Piper. And did a pretty big volcano there. As I look back on it, like, the perspective is a little weird on it, but I did a volcano. I did. There's a nice big rock of a mountain. And we'll do this kind of jagged thing to the side of it as well. There we go. Allison Rose says, what do you do if you make a big mistake? Well, I try my best to fix it. But that's not always possible. I'll give you an example of one, actually. I might not be able to find it, but I'll check one place. If it's not there, I'll point you in the direction where you can find it. Here we go. Maps. Okay. Here it is. What happened? Oh, I remember what it is. I had my kids. I left my stuff out. This happens. This happens to people, guys. I left my stuff out, and my kids got a hold of some of my pens, and the paper was just sitting there, and I come in, and there's just, I mean, it could have been way worse, but there was just like a big line right here, just like, and just like, I don't know, there's 2 lines maybe. Right here I've got some white out. It's kind of chunky. But part of it I just repaired here. This is one part that, I was pretty new to it at this point. This might have been my like 2nd or 3rd commission. So, yeah, I made a river, and I don't know, for the line of the tree line, there we go. It just looks a little weird. Yep. I did my best. Yep. All right, back to it here. Kenny Foster, Isabel and Zoe sound like pretty cool people, and I like their maps too. I'm trying to get my son to draw some maps. I've been like, he'll watch me working on one in Photoshop, and I've been teaching him some things. He's 8 years old, and I just like, here, we can hide this layer, and we can do this thing, and just trying to he's curious and he's asking about it. So it's like, yeah, sure, come on over, bud, and have a look. And but I still haven't got him. I think maybe once in the past I got him to pick up a pencil or pen and just start drawing. But he's like, no. I want to watch you. Okay. But man, get the kids drawing. Just creating worlds, right? It's such a creative thing. Drawing a map in particular, because you're creating a world. Or maybe you're just drawing a world that someone else already created, as is often the case with me. But for the XP official, what's up? Welcome. Little impromptu mappening tonight. Just kind of spur of the moment thing. All right, I'm feeling like I'm getting a lot of similar looking mountains, maybe because I'm a little distracted by the fact that I'm streaming or whatever, but that's no excuse. I mean, you want them somewhat similar in style, right? But there we go. There's kind of a rounded one there. I like it. And we'll do something right here. Get a little, see, that was one where, in the past I might not have put a mountain in there, but I'm trying to, again, get them a little more dense, a little more densely populated. This right here looks a little bit odd. So what I'll often do on something like that is just fix it in Photoshop by, I would basically just, oh, that's my number 8. I want my thinnest, and I took my thickest. Here we go. Just kind of take that, what is a hook, basically. Here, I'll just show you on this, because you're not going to be able to see it there. So here on that's a little too, like, oh, that got a little too hooked right there. Then you can just take it and just kind of go like that. So there are ways to fix mistakes, as some would call them, but as I prefer to call them, happy little accidents. Bob Ross. Yep, okay, got my number 3. Felt like, is this thick enough? It is. So there's that one I was talking about. Yeah, just go like that. Okay, so these are some jagged little mountains. Now I'm not going to be doing, I'm not going to be shading them here. I thought about asking this client if he wanted that. I've been kind of toying around with the idea of doing a map like that. And I would like to, where I don't do the digital shading, but kind of the more Tolkien style. Now I think if I remember correctly, got it on the shelf, I could go look, but I think the Tolkien style is actually like just solid shading. Like it's no shading and then it's solid black shading, if I remember correctly. But I really like that. That can be cool. I've done something close to that anyway, but I really like the kind of a hatching, I guess you would call it, where this can be a pretty thick line. And then you do it like that, kind of like that look, but maybe I need a little work on it. Yeah, huh. Let's see. Kenny says one of my girls plays Magic the Gathering. Cool. Yeah, I got a set. We got dual decks, and I played it with my son quite a few times, and we have a great time. It's a fun game. I haven't gotten too into it, but I do enjoy it. Jana Lynn, welcome. The Mappening is indeed happening. Nicholas Hatch says I'm hoping to learn. Hope make learning a family affair. Not sure if my girls can handle D&D or not. Yeah, Hero Kids is good. Hero Kids is fun. The content, I enjoy it, and it's good for my kids, my boys. It's just about right. Moses Pippinger asks, how much do you let real-world topography and climate rules shape your worlds? Personally, I shape my worlds around them, but I might be limiting myself. Thoughts? You know, I would probably use them a lot more if I knew the rules. I just don't. And I don't care enough to go research them super heavily. That really bugs some people, but that's me. Yeah. Tommy Bennett, this is a... sorry, dropped a pen. I think it's a 14 by 17. I said at the beginning, but now I can't remember. Yep, 14 by 17. This is a pretty big one. It's the first time I've done a map this big. Bloodthirst, yeah, 9 and 10-year-old, I think definitely Hero Kids would be totally fine, and they might be able to handle D&D. I did pick up ICRPG. You can go check out my review of that. I think that will probably be the next step up for my boys, particularly my 8-year-old. I think could probably handle ICRPG, and I have a feeling we'll be giving that a shot sometime soon, because I think it's definitely more complex than Hero Kids, but it is a simpler, quicker game than something like than D&D 5e. So yeah, recommend checking that out. You can find more in my review, or just go read the reviews on DriveThruRPG. They're stellar. Like, yeah, very well reviewed. Yeah, I don't know. I wonder what other people recommend in terms of playing with kids. I've been meaning to do a video for quite a while on playing RPGs with kids and just some of the tips I would give people. But I know there's a wealth of wisdom and insight out there on the internet. That one's going to be a little more gradual, slopey slope with some jaggedy jags behind it. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh, that peak. That was an intense peak, guys. Cool, Moses. Just a few minutes ago. Well, thanks, man. It feels cool when someone says something like that. Like, just discovered my channel a few minutes ago. I love it. Okay, this is coming along. I'm going a lot slower and probably more detailed than I normally do, but that's what happens when I'm streaming, talking, yakking, having a great time with y'all. So pretty soon I should send this guy, my client, a update and just say, hey, what do you think? Because it's just good to do that every once in a while. I've definitely gotten into situations where they say, ooh, yeah, so this thing, it was actually supposed to be like this. And then, usually the advantage of Photoshop comes into play there, which is, even if I don't intend to do Photoshop, that is kind of like a fail-safe where I can like keep it pretty hand-drawn looking, and yeah, just fix a problem or two. All right, I need to look back at my reference map up on the wall. Bloodthirst, I've never done a completely dead biome map. Dead biome in a map. I guess I've done deserts and wasteland sorts of things. So, yeah. All right, I'm standing up over here looking at the master map on the wall. So excuse me for just a moment. So it looks like got some ruins of some kind right here. It almost looks like a Stonehenge sort of situation. So just penciling in some rough shapes here that will remind me that there's some kind of monolithic structures there. And then forest up here. So maybe I'll do a little more forest here. Take a break from the mountains. No, you know what? I'm going to get back to some coastline. Coastline is nice and mindless, and I can talk to people, and it'll be great. So let's check out my number 1 here. Beep. I wish I could have music. You know what? I could put headphones in. Probably should. But then I fear that I would not talk to you guys as much if I had some music, and I would just be humming along. Lately, I've been listening to, today, Arctic Monkeys. I remember hearing about them in the past, but I loaded up my Spotify web player at work. We don't like the app never works at work because of our internet filter. So I loaded up the web player, and for some reason that was like my last played thing, and I was like, "What? I don't remember listening to this." And I just hit play. Maybe it was my wife or someone, and it was really good. Rocked out for that for a while. I also, every school year, I ask my students certain questions about like what kind of music they like, what sort of books they like to read, stuff like that. And I always end up finding new artists that way too. Kind of cool. Yeah. So yesterday, one of my students shared with me the rapper Logic, who I'd heard of and seen before, but enjoyed some of that stuff too. But I've been listening to a lot of the audiobook for the Wheel of Time series. I think I'm on the Shadow Rising. Let me check. Yep, the Shadow Rising. I'm on chapter 27. And that's good. That's what I've been listening to mostly while I map. Really enjoy it. Let's get caught up on some comments here. Oh, Jana Lynn, thank you. A little tip, $5. Thanks so much. Very generous of you. Really appreciate it. Yep. Awesome. I've never gotten a tip on a like a live stream before. I didn't even know this was possible. So thank you. That rocks. Very you inspire me. Let's see if I can get caught up on. Oh, people have been chatty. Got 9 and 10-year-old. Let's see. Patrick Ritter found it a few days ago. Opened my homepage and there's a Mappening on. Cool, man. Oh, I'm not as behind as I thought. How do you incorporate county and kingdom boundaries in your maps? So I have not done that before. And that's, something that I think is not going to be all that common in most fantasy maps because, they're based on times when there weren't really borders. There weren't really firm borders, I should say. Or when there were, just kind of loose borders, right? Border regions, really. So I have not done them, and I think most fantasy maps don't have them, but I think it's a cool idea, and I've definitely seen it done and done well before. There's a couple ways. And one I would say is like just drawing a kind of like, if I'm doing black line throughout the whole thing, having kind of a gray line, maybe thick but very light gray, denote the border. Another would be dotted lines, but those are often used with roads, and that can be a little confusing. The thing you got to be careful of is making sure they're separate from your rivers, roads, and any other lines you have, that they look different, right? So your eye's not getting confused. Visual confusion is no good. So that's one way. Another way would be to, the traditional kind of like, hey, color them differently, right? And that can be done with colored pencil, watercolor, Photoshop. The options are limitless. Okay, I've got the main coastline done. I've got some islands to do, but let's get back to some questions here. I appreciate the fact that you... Yeah, Moses Pippinger crawling around in Google Earth is great. I do it often, definitely. And I just go to like random maps. Not even Google Earth, but just like Google Maps. Especially for coastline shapes, I'll just zoom in on a random part of the world. Specifically like Canada. Canada's got some killer like just craziness, right? And so I'll go to Canada and I'll just like zoom in on a specific part and kind of pick little bits and pieces. There's so many lakes up in like the Nova Scotia region. It's really kind of a cool area. Or if I need an Arctic coastline, I'll just go to like, somewhere up in the frozen north of the earth and kind of pick out the style and the bits and pieces. Go to some islands, Indonesia or something like that, where they have a lot of islands, and just kind of pick out some coastlines. But I haven't done it too much for terrain. I have done it a little bit for mountains, just as reference, like, how do actual mountain ranges work? And I tend to not follow them very closely, even though I've seen them. I'm like, yeah, I'll keep doing mountains my way. Sometimes it's that, that matter of style over and form over function doesn't quite apply there. Never mind. But you know what I mean. Realism or style. Finding that balance is important. Critical masterpiece. Thanks, man. I really like hearing myself talk too. I'm dumb. All right. I like how these are looking. These islands are just kind of, broken bits. I feel like overall the map needs a few more of those areas where there's just little islands. Like this right here, I think is a little weird. Coastline, big island, little island, and I'm feeling like I might need a little more island action going on down there. These ones you got to be careful not to overwhelm them with your coastline. So just barely scratching in some little wave lines there is what you got to do. All right, let's go down here. Get to work. Well, this has been a productive night for me, guys. Thank you for hanging out. I probably won't stream too much longer, but as I said in the beginning of the video, it's going to be a tough fall for me with just keeping to my video schedule, and I definitely want to be transparent. I gotta send a notice to my patrons saying, hey, FYI, like, I'm probably not going to be able to stick to my once a week schedule. And I started my Patreon page under that assumption that, like, hey, I will make a video once a week. If you want to support that, go for it. And some people have, and it's great. But I got to now, like, level with them and say, listen, this fall is going to be crazy for me. So, I totally understand if people want to duck out of that for sure. Not support someone who's like hasn't put out a video in 3 dang weeks. Come on, Nate. It could happen. But there's always maps to draw, I guess. It's the editing that kills me, right? So that's what's nice about doing this right here. All right, we're getting there. I'm going to add a couple more islands down in that left, bottom left corner. I see the comments whizzing by, and I want to get caught up. Oh, you know what? I had my iPad out here, and I was going to follow along on that because it's easier for me to view that while I'm mapping. See if I can get that going here. Now that we're almost done. All right, home. The Mappening 11 already? Yep. Hey, I can hear me. Okay. Well, I've got a lot of like humming going on. I don't like that. I'm sorry, guys. Maybe I need to turn my gain down a little bit. I guess it's not terrible, but there's a lot of background noise. The comments whizzing by. Woo! Okay. Now, how do I get the chat? Oh, live chat. There we go. Okay, cool. Now I can keep up on the live chat a little easier. Do I ever do critiques of other people's maps? Ben Buckner asks. No. But I mean, if people wanted me to, I would. Oh, I see. Yeah, I mean, people reach out and say, hey, any constructive criticism? And sure, I do that for free. You don't need to pay me for that. I love helping people out. But no, I don't do like, I've never done like an official like, will you be my consultant on this map sort of thing. But yeah, you can send me maps on Twitter. Or Facebook Messenger is nice because there's not a character limit, but people often send me stuff on Twitter, and it is a challenge for me. Like, constructive criticism. It's like, I got 140 characters. Here goes. So maybe Facebook Messenger is better if you got Facebook. Link at the top there. Okay, I was gonna do more islands here. How long have we been going here? Let's see. Oh, wow. Yeah, so it's been a little over an hour. Not as long as I thought, I guess. Islands. Let's see. Okay, pencil first. Let's see. I'll zoom in here. Do some down here. Maybe down here too. Little island. Funky shape. All right. Go ahead and ink those in here. Excuse me. I burped. And this one down here, can you see that? Yep, you guys can just barely see that. There we go. And this one I had some fun with, guys. Oh yeah. Great shape. The Penguin says, are you active on Cartographers Guild at all anymore? No. I'm not, but yeah, I mean, if you tell me like, hey, I'm going to send you a map over there, sure, I will be, yeah. Or you can email me, sellswordmaps@gmail.com. That works well too, sellswordmaps@gmail.com. Yep. So yeah, Sellsword Maps, I got the link up there. That's kind of my mapping page that I don't maintain very well, but it's just, I just put it up there as the way that people would contact me if they want to commission a map. I will not be doing any more commissions for quite a few months. It'll probably be spring, late winter, early spring here in the U.S. before I'm taking on any more. But I love the Cartographers Guild. It's just not, I'm not in the habit of checking things out there. But it's a super inspirational place. If people are interested in seeing really good cartographers, do it. Go to the Cartographers Guild, create an account, and just lurk and check out people's work. Tommy Mega Muffin is back, and he's from Halifax. Hi. Welcome back. Let's see if I can answer any other comments here. Yes, Jaina, you need some big paper like this. Yeah, 11 by 14 is a good step up from the regular 9 by 12, but this 11 by 17 is pretty nice. The danger is this, and I'll show you, actually, here's another map I'm working on. You probably not going to be able to see it very well, but I actually had someone who wanted me to take quite a bit of liberty with their map. It was more of just like, here's a big block sort of shape, and so I drew a couple sketches here, and there we go. He ended up choosing this one. He liked that one. So that's what I've been working on. And I just kind of sketched out some stuff here. It's, again, very hard to see. Sorry about that. Let me see if I can adjust the contrast maybe. Yeah, there you can kind of see it a little bit. So anyway, he wanted a map in the style of Inshar, which I did on much smaller paper, and I gave him a lower price because, okay, that's a less detailed map, right? It's a less detailed map is how it is. And I actually, like, to stop myself from going to too much detail and spending too much time on it, I actually didn't use the whole sheet. I'm just like, okay, boop, we're gonna make it about the size, I think exactly the size of a sheet of paper, because otherwise I will go nuts, because it's what I do. So yeah, all right, let's turn the contrast back up to a reasonable level there. But this is Dungrath. It's going to be a cool map, I think, going for that sort of shape. See. Jaina asks, do you always start with Coastline technique with beans and work from that? No, I hardly ever do that. That was a thing I did once, and it was cool, and I like the idea. But lately I've been doing so many of other people's maps where they already have a shape. That would have been a good thing to do on that one. But I just did some really quick sketches, excuse me, and worked something out, worked out some decent looking shapes. But yeah, no, I'm a fan of that technique, where you just kind of, if you don't know what I'm talking about, how to draw a fantasy map part 1, I got some white beans out of my cupboard and just put them all over and moved them around until I had shapes I'm happy with, and then I traced them. Got that idea from Questing Beast, who also does great map making videos, and he has one where he does that with like some little school supply math cubes or something. All right, I gotta go up here more and do some mountains up here. Got my size 3, yep, good. Always gotta double check. Not that it would be the end of the world. I need to get some guests. I need to plan ahead a little bit and get some guests on the Mappening too. Ben from Questing Beast has definitely said he would like to join in sometime. I asked him if he would. Love to get Hanker and Fernail again. He's been killing it with his map of, I think it's his map of Alfheim, his one of his campaign settings. Yeah, so got to get some people in here. There's a couple others I've talked to, and we'll see. I can't do all this, like this fancy business or this right here, when I'm in a Google Hangout with other people, but yeah. Nicholas Hatch says beans? Yeah, like just the dried beans. You want to go with the dried ones. Anything, yeah, I mean, you could do rice. You could do like Cheerios. Just got to make sure you clean up the debris. The debris. Okay, so I'm leaving a pretty blank space there because I don't really know what that's going to end up looking like. On this map, my hope is that the cities will look like this. City. But I got to talk to the client about that. The reason I want that is just because I think it's going to be tricky with so many of them close together and trying to fit the text in. It'll be tricky. I am doing the text in Photoshop on this one, which haven't done that in a while, but it's not very hard. Do you ever do D&D adventure streams on Twitch or something? No, not on Twitch. I've done some on YouTube, though. Last one I did was Oath of the Frozen King. You can search for that. It's from a couple months ago. It was a lot of fun. Let's see if I have any more mountains to do on this map here. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I've been drawing mountains off the screen. All right, let me take a look at my reference map. I think that's about it for mountains. I will likely add some, kind of random sporadic mountains here or there. More likely hills, actually. But before I go, I wanted to just, I guess, talk about ways to fill in space on a map. I'm a little hesitant to do this now live because I haven't filled everything out yet, so I'm not totally sure what spaces need to be filled. But just to give you guys an idea of what I'm talking about here, and I'd like to do just a shorter, concise video on this sometime in the near future. It could be next week even. I think I might have time for a short video like that. But when you have, you've got a lot of stuff and you've got big blank spaces in between all that stuff, what are some ways you can fill it? Well, just to, if you're doing line art like I am, just black ink on white paper, one easy way is just to kind of draw some very light kind of lines like this here and there. Just kind of fill in some space. These are the kind of lines that sometimes I would do, if I'm doing a city. Or a structure of some kind. Let me zoom in here. Not too thrilled with how it's focusing. But it's good enough, I guess. So if I'm doing a city here, sometimes I'll do like a little, like underneath it sort of thing. That's a little darker than I usually do it, but just kind of a little scratch, And so that's one kind of easy way. You can hardly see these lines, but it just kind of fills in some of the space, makes it look like, hey, there's some land there. And then another idea I got from Max's maps is he kind of has a lot of, I used to do a lot of this sort of thing. I think if I pull out that folder again, which my chair had rolled over. Jeez, Nate, you ruin everything. So you can see here, this is pretty like filled in, just little tufts of grass basically. That's another option. But Max's maps, he often has kind of like this almost like that, where he's got just all these little like, I don't know what they are, but just little visual cues that there's like, it's like a little hill or like some grass or I don't know what. And sometimes he even kind of has it just basically dots, stipples, stippling. And you probably want to use a thicker pen than my number 3. But Bloodthirst, thanks for joining. Number 8, there we go. So yeah, just kind of this stippling effect, and you can kind of do it in the shape of hills a little bit. That's another option. What else have I been doing? Let me pull out my map I've been working on here. I'm not going to project this one. I'm keeping it under wraps for now, but check out what else I've got going. Yeah, the swampy areas are nice. Hills are really good. So just little hills here and there. 2 or 3 hills. It's kind of like that. And then, do a few more down here. You don't want to do it all hills. That looks weird, but just kind of to help fill in space here and there. You can do kind of the just pointed hill like that. Or you could easily do just the more rounded hills. Rolling hills. Just little bits of hills here and there. Like that. And when I'm doing them in Photoshop, it's nice because then I can add shading too, and it all increases. I can add a little highlight on that and a little shade on that end, and it increases just the texture of the map. If you are using Photoshop too, you can just do an overlay layer, which is what I use for shading, and you can just kind of do this sort of thing with the overlay layer rather than with like the line art, the black ink. Or highlights, you can do that way too. But yeah, I'm still kind of toying around with ideas. Another option is kind of to just do in the coast, almost as I do on the water end. You can do this sort of thing where you're just kind of, yeah, I don't know, maybe not. Yeah, never mind. I'm not sure I like that, but I have done some of it on maps and had it look good. This does not. So yeah, those are some things I'm messing with. I'm definitely open to others' ideas on that too. And yeah, it's something that I think will help me up my game. But it's also been something that on my most recent map, it's like, ooh, I did not plan for this, but it just looked so empty. It looked so empty. Mainly because there's trees only in a very specific area of this map that I've been working on. And it's so it's like, nope, you can't have trees over here. I can't fill in more trees over here. And well, what can I do? So those are some things I've been toying with a little bit. You can also do cliffs here and there, just like a ridge line. Where you got, this sort of thing going on, and then it's kind of a random cliff in the middle of the land. This is a ridge, right? It's a dip into a canyon or something, and yep, that can work too. And then again, you add shading in it, it looks even better. But yeah, I think I'm going to end this one, guys, but I want to thank you a ton for joining me. I really appreciate it. And it's just fun hanging out, working on some maps. Got a bit done tonight. Feeling pretty good about it. And yeah, I guess make sure you sign up for notifications. And if you're following me on Facebook and Twitter, that all helps too. But especially the notifications on YouTube for when I go live, because I have a feeling here in the next month I will be doing this from time to time, kind of in an impromptu fashion. Yeah, it's often hard for me to plan when I get super busy, but there are times when it's like, you know what? I got 2 hours. Let's do it. So, yeah, thanks again for joining me, guys. I want to thank the patrons once again for their support. Really appreciate it. And, yeah, everybody take care. You'll see me again very soon.